Hello, my friends. Happy Mythical Monday. It's Miss Sharon here from Newcastle Public Library. And today's the day where we talk about wonderful myths and wonderful folk tales and folklore. And so I'm going to talk to you about some North American folklore. And today we're going to read Pecos Bill by Steven Kellogg. It's a bit longer, so stick with me. I think you'll like this one. Look, the wagon train is moving west across the country. It's feeding the bears honey. Always like that part. Back in the rugged pioneer days, when Pecos Bill was a baby, his kinfolk decided that New England was becoming entirely too crowded. So they piled into covered wagons and headed west. The clan considered settling in East Texas until Bill's ma noticed a homesteader putting up a shack about 50 miles away. Another crowded neighborhood, she grumbled. Let's push on. As they crossed the Pecos River, Bill threw out a fishing line, but when a Texas trout nibbled, Bill was yanked overboard. That is a huge fish. He was towed far downstream, and he would have drowned for sure if an old coyote hadn't grabbed him. Her family adopted Bill and taught him the ways of the wild creatures. By the time Bill had outgrown his breeches, he felt like a member of the pack. He loved to romp with his coyote brothers, and as he grew older, he sometimes played with the bighorn sheep. So he howled at the moon like his coyote brothers, and he jumped ridges with the bighorn sheep. One day, a drifter named Chuck stumbled across Bill while he was taking a nap. He asked Bill what he meant by snoozing in the brush without his trousers. Bill tried to explain that he was a coyote. Horse feathers, said Chuck. You're a Texan, just like me. Bill decided to give life as a Texan a try. He borrowed Chuck's extra clothes and peppered him with all sorts of questions. Imagine sleeping in the brush without your trousers. So good thing that Chuck set him straight, that he was a Texan. Just like him. To tell you the truth, said Chuck, most Texans are flea-bitten outlaws, and the worst of them are the Hell's Gulch gang. But even they would be okay if they become ranchers and herd the longhorns that wander hereabouts. Ranchers sounded good to Bill, and he headed for Hell's Gulch, determined to recruit the gang. But Bill's plans were interrupted when he was ambushed by a giant rattlesnake. Oh, look at that giant rattlesnake. Amazing. Yikes. When Bill dodged the snake's fangs, it slapped its coils around him. Oh, look at that. The snake squeezed hard, but Bill squeezed harder, and he didn't let up until every drop of poison was out of that reptile, leaving it as skinny as a rope and as mild as a goldfish. Then, before Bill could catch his breath, he was tackled by a critter that was part grizzly, part puma, part gorilla, and part tarantula. They wrestled up and down the canyon, and they kicked up quite a fuss. Quite a dust storm they did, before the monster finally became so dizzy that it had to quit. No one had ever tangled with those two varmints and lived to tell the tale. So when Bill met up with the Hell's Gulch gang, they were thunderstruck. Who's the boss of this outfit? Bill asked. I was, mumbled Gunsmith, but now you is. Bill told the gang that he was going to turn every last one of them into respectable ranch hands, but the men claimed the Texas cattle were much too ornery. to ever put up with ranching. So they were laughing. You want to turn us into respectable ranchers? Yeah, right. Bill had a sudden inspiration, and he approached a longhorn that was sulking nearby. Just as the bull whirled around to trample him, Bill snagged him with the rattlesnake and yanked with all his might. Cattle roping has just been invented. Bill scared that bull out of its skin with a blood-curdling coyote howl. The embarrassed creature hightailed it off to grow a new coat, while Bill cut the hide into strips and passed them out to the men to use as lassos. There's so much going on in these pictures. You'll have to check this one out to see all of these images. Lassoing those longhorns. Then cowboys and cattle tangled in rough and tumble hullabaloo that is remembered to this day as the first Western rodeo. When it ended, the gang declared they would be cowboys forever, and they promised to help Bill round up every steer in Texas. Bill needed a horse to ride on the big roundup. Well, said Chuck, there's a wild stallion in the mountains that some folks call Lightning. Others think of the name Widowmaker suits him better. But no matter what you call him, he's the fastest, most beautiful horse in the world. Bill went off in search of Lightning. As soon as he saw him, Bill knew he had found the horse for him. Up in the mountains, a beautiful white stallion. It's like the sunbeams are coming down and the lightning. Ah! Bill chased Lightning north to the Arctic Circle and south to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Finally, he cornered the stallion and jumped onto his back. Lightning exploded from the canyon, leaping and bucking across 3 states. There's north to the Arctic Circle, south to the Grand Canyon, and Pecos Bill finally got on Lightning's back and crash, boom! Lightning exploded. Then Bill began to sing in the language he had learned from his coyote family. He sang of his admiration for the stallion's strength and promised him a lifetime of partnership and devotion. When Bill was done singing, he offered the horse his freedom, but Lightning chose to follow him forever. After Pecos Bill, pretty salute to Lightning. With Pecos Bill and Lightning leading them, the cowboys whooped across the state of Texas, rounding up every last street. But their high spirits collapsed when they were faced with the job of driving that enormous herd back and forth between the summer and winter ranges. To silence their grumbling, Bill set up the Perpetual Motion Ranch on Pinnacle Peak, which was so high that the top remained in winter, while spring and autumn turned into summer at the base. So on the top of Pinnacle Peak, it was always winter. That's pretty high. Look at that ranch. All those cattle. Can you imagine? A team of prairie dogs helped build a fence off the mountain so that the cattle could wander through the seasons unattended. Bill's plan worked fine, except the Pinnacle Peak was so steep that the steers fell right off whenever there was a breeze. The men had to work harder than ever, carrying all those cattle back up that hill. Can you imagine? Bill solved that problem by inventing steers with very short legs on one side of their bodies. Even in a windstorm, these cattle could stand securely on the slope as long as they kept their short-legged sides uphill. See, Pecos Bill, he invented that short-legged steer. Imagine that. So they would never fall off of Pinnacle Peak again. Now the men at Perpetual Motion Ranch had all kinds of free time, and Bill became known as the world's greatest cowboy. But the high point of Bill's life came when Slewfoot Sue passed by on the back of a catfish. Bill was instantly in love. Oh, and he hollered a proposal of marriage. Will you marry me? Sue agreed on two conditions. First, Bill had to buy her a wedding dress with a bustle. And second, he had to let her ride lightning to the ceremony. Can you believe that? I don't know. She might ride lightning to the cemetery. I don't know. The first request was easy. Bill galloped to Dallas and brought back the fanciest bustle dress in the whole city. Sue's second request was not so simple. Although Slewfoot Sue was a first-rate rider, the moment her bustle touched the saddle, kaboom, she was bursted skyward. Look, the dress with the bustle. There she is. Oh, there she is trying to get on lightning. Up, boom. Sue soared around the moon and began the long descent to Earth. Hey, Sue, where are you? She landed squarely on her bustle, but as quick as Bill was, he couldn't get to her before she bounced back into outer space. Oh, there she is circling the moon. Oh, there she is coming back down. Bill's trying to catch her. Oh, time and time again, Sue, boom, hit the ground and rocketed back up toward the stars. Sue probably would have sailed back and forth forever if Bill hadn't lassoed a tornado to help him catch his bouncing bride. The pair of them clung to that careening storm until it blew itself out over California. To Bill's amazement, he and Sue landed on top of his Ma and Pa's wagon. Look, there's a circle of Conestoga wagons. There they are. And they came down on top of the wagon. Convenient, eh? Bill couldn't believe his kinfolk were still searching for a homestead. He told them they could spend the rest of their days roaming, but they'd never find a place to equal Texas. Everyone returned to Bill's ranch for a wing-ding of a family reunion. Wing-ding! Hooray! And today, their descendants are still there, happily herding cattle, those longhorn steers of Texas. Hooray! And that, my friends, is the wonderful folktale of Pecos Bill. And this one is illustrated and retold by Steven Kellogg, the wonderful Steven Kellogg. And there are many tales about Pecos Bill. And there are several other folk tales that you might want to check out. Look them up on the internet. And a nice compilation is the Diane Good Book of American Folk Tales and Songs. So this is a little like snippet of several North American folk tales and some different songs that are included, like "Oh, Susanna, Don't You Cry for Me," and "Billy Boy," and "On Top of Old Smoky, all covered with snow." You know, otherwise known as "On Top of Spaghetti." So that's a classic. Anyway, so the Diane Good Book of American Folk Tales and Songs. There are several other North American folk tales. Another by Steven Kellogg, illustrated and retold. The great Mike Fink. And look, there he's rustling a bear. Flatboat Driver and Paul Bunyan and Babe His Blue Ox. Do you sense a theme here? Steven Kellogg, I love his tales. He also did a good one on Johnny Appleseed. But you might want to check out, there's John Henry and Johnny Appleseed, Davy Crockett, Rip Van Winkle, Joe McGarrick, Pittsburgh Steel Mill, that's a Pittsburgh legend right there. Calamity Jane and Buffalo Bill, all these wonderful things. And there's also North American legends. This is a nice compilation in here of different folklore from different cultures and tall tales, and they're all combined into North American legends. So if I can find Sitka Rose is a book that we have here at the library. It's by Shelley Gill, and it's one that I truly enjoy because Sitka Rose is a gal and she lives up in Alaska, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you, my friends, for listening to the wonderful tale of Pecos Bill. And we hope to see you down soon at the Newcastle Public Library, and you all have a fantastic, wonderful Mythical Monday. This is Miss Sharon signing off. We'll see you next time.